You.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much. There we go. I wasn't hooked up correctly, but now I am.
That's all right. That's good. That's good. Dude, that interview with Chris is hilarious.
Is it?
Oh my god. It's so good.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I'm not surprised at all that it's gonna be hilarious.
Like for like all the really good like the stuff that you just did with the guy from North Texas and um like a lot of our you play we don'ts have a general air of professionalism and uh, I don't know, whatever. Um but yeah, this one was just off the walls. It was great.
That's perfect.
Oh,
People
it's so good.
people will really like it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like just some really solid off-season content. We do actually talk about soccer,
Oh,
which is good.
boo.
I know, man, I know, but I figured we had to get it out of the way.
That's funny.
Um, Not that I can mention it on the show. We're not live, right? Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are. You want me to stop it?
Well, shit, then whatever. I'll just type it in the chat. Yeah, I'll just type it in the chat.
Not the YouTube one now.
Oh, not the YouTube one, the group chat. Yeah. There's a little. Yo, if you're can you grab the YouTube chat then?
I'm doing it right now because when I said
Yeah.
that, I was like, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah.
I'm on it now.
Thank you for tweeting and everything. Jesus Christ.
Doing shit tonight.
I know, man.
Hard to believe. And now I'm actually pulling up what I need to record.
Damn, son.
Well, I'm gonna send my personal.
Where did that tweet go? I had it. Did you see that one? I just retweeted it like half hour ago, maybe. One of the guys up in like TSN 1060 or whatever, the Ottawa
No, I don't think.
channel is, had a really good tweet about what's going on with the Fury.
What did they say?
I mean, I'm gonna wait until I'll just say it twice. Doesn't really matter. Richard Starnes, who's up in Ottawa, TSN 1200 does a radio show about Ottawa Fury up there. The unconscionable move to throw a grenade at the Ottawa Fury defies logic. This club has battled all kinds of difficulties and turned itself into one of the best run Canada conscious clubs in the game. It champions Canadian pros like no other. Shame on CONCACAF and Montagliano.
What did I miss? I didn't catch what you're trying to get across. I'm sorry.
Oh, he just said that like the whole fact that like CONCACAF is doing this is just ridiculous
Yeah.
with Ottawa.
And he called out the CONCACAF president, right? That's what that one name was.
Yeah. Who is Canadian?
Yeah, who used to be the president of CSA, right? Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess, dude.
It is. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, notes. That's
yeah.
what else I need to grab.
Show notes. Yeah, I can do that.
I didn't look at them yet.
I did. I mean, it's Ryan's show notes, so
Perfect. Perfection.
what else do you need to tell you?
Harry's here. What's up, Harry?
What's up, brother? I need a. What am I doing? Not drinking. Hold on.
I'm not either. I was tired, and I got ice cream with espresso in it. We just got an ice cream shop down the road. It's so good. Reading show notes.
That's better.
Show notes.
Was that not those?
Let's see. We have a few Nashville signings.
We do. We have a couple of Bethlehem moves that I can talk about. We have a couple pending Bethlehem moves that I can't talk about yet. One incoming. I actually don't know who that is. And tomorrow is Tom's last day at Bethlehem Steel. Entirely on the Philadelphia Union.
Is that a hint? That was an on-air hint.
Yeah. It's a winter warmer tonight, y'all. In case we're wondering.
Winter warmer?
Yeah, it's just like a really malty ale, basically.
Good for the cold. It's rain.
Yeah, and it's cool. Local brewing company, Lancaster Brewing, based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. No, it's not Lancaster. That's California. But a portion of the profits they sell on this beer go towards the Wolf Sanctuary of Pennsylvania, which is like a really cool place.
Reading about all these people. I don't know who Hackshaw is. Do you know anything about Hackshaw?
Charleston Battery.
That's all I know.
He played center back last year.
Center back, okay. That was my guess, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He's good.
Oh, he is, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, defenders in Charleston. But he's generally a center mid, I think. I'm pulling up the article, but I know he played center back last year.
I remember watching him.
Hey man, welcome back to the East. Did anyone at the front out were you like, guys, did you just say like this is fucking we can't do this anymore?
Yeah. I tried to give Mike Watts a little trouble because he said newcomers, Swope Park in St. Louis. Hey. I was like, really? You're gonna call us newcomers?
Come on, man.
Get out of here.
He's over 3 seasons with the Battery. 1 goal, 2 assists, 146 clearances, 45 interceptions in midfield. Prior to the USL, he was in the Trinidad and Tobago TT Pro League. Eight international caps for TNT. Martin Rennie called him a young player, and he's 28. I don't know how I feel about that. Donovan Awolo back to North Carolina. Pascal Abusi to Sacramento. Sorry, San Antonio. Bratzner to Memphis. That's a fun one.
Hey, everybody.
Hello there, friend.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, Slave. How are you?
Not too bad at all.
That's good. Hey, it's a Liverpool fan mixed in with all these Tottenham fools, and I'm a City boy. Oh yeah. So I'll just say that you guys haven't played anybody yet this year.
No, haven't played anybody.
No, all of your fixtures have been against like fucking Fulham and Wolves, and like that's great, but like
we haven't played Wolves yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. John, is that a nose ring that you have?
Yes, it is.
How didn't I know this about you?
I don't know. I had it years.
You don't advertise your nose ring?
No, not really. I flip it up when I am in the office.
No. Evan likes it. That's what he's saying.
I do.
Maybe no, I had it in my younger days, and then when I hit 30, and I took it out, and I was like, then I hit 30, I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna do it again.
Would you say this is a part of your midlife crisis, or what?
Kind of.
Okay. I had one in the emo days, but it was a side, not a middle.
Wait, side just like the stud, or was it the actual like ring?
Stud, man. Everyone else had ring. Now it went straight to the
buddy. I'm low key. We're like one of the first people in New York / St. Louis to get like a proper dermal.
I think I was at the time. It did catch on.
That's amazing.
You know, St. Louis. We're not exactly ahead of the trends here. So it's not.
It's true. It's true. That is one thing I know about St. Louis, Missouri, is that it's not exactly on the cutting edge of.
No, I had a lip piercing. I had a lip piercing. My ears were stretched. I had long hair down past my shoulders.
Phil, you never linked the group chat, bud.
Oh, sorry. I
need to know what people are saying about all these body modifications that Slate had, and I can't.
So far, nothing. So thanks a lot, Slate. Thought we'd get a little more out of you, but you know.
I totally forgot we were live on air.
We are.
Oh, don't worry. I almost said some news, baby.
Here we go.
I had to double check. Thanks, buddy. No, this is the stream. No. All right, I got it. I muted it.
How's it going, Ryan? Has anyone said hello to you yet?
I know they haven't. Hi, Ryan. I'm sorry. I love you.
So rude.
I know. Phil, you're making me watch myself. I don't like this.
Oh, yeah, you see your face now.
Yeah.
I'll show.
Ugh.
Ryan, I don't think I can hear you.
Yeah, Ryan, your mic's off.
Either that I can't hear him either.
God damn it, Ryan. Aren't you like home even? And we just, yeah, all right. The hair's good though. Does it stay like that? That's really impressive.
That's really good. It's kind of curly. Is that nice?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. This is going to be the USL show just talks about each other positive. The USL show spreads like body positivity.
Style special, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Evan, is your beard more trimmed than usual? It looks very nice.
Thanks, bro. No, it's just growing in. I did the whole, shave October 31st or whatever, and then no shave November, and now it's just kind of back to normal fullness. I don't know.
I start late September and then shave again in the spring.
I can't bring myself to shave in the winter. It's too cold.
That's how I feel.
I grew absolutely nothing. So, I mean, if I just didn't shave for 2 months, I would just look dirty.
Right, though. Like admitting that you can't do it is admirable. Oh,
I tried once. It was awful.
Gotta try. I mean, if you don't try.
I mean, there's only one way you find out, right?
I had this awful mustache.
Perfect.
Think think current Roberto Firmino like trash stash. That was a solid month and a half.
That's all?
Yeah.
I had the trash stash when I tried to be a hipster in New York.
Tried.
I'm
gonna throw it out there, friends. You succeeded.
You succeeded because you got out.
I did get out after a year, so I only wasted a year's worth of money. It's expensive.
Yes.
You live in where do you live around Nashville?
I'm south of town, so do you know the area very well?
No, not very well.
So yeah, I'm just like I'm right south on 65. I'm in what's called Antioch, but it's still within the metro Davidson County area.
Is that like somewhat suburban? What's that like right there?
It's somewhat suburban, but still a bit urban. I'm in the Hispanic part of town.
Oh, cool.
Underlay.
So I have all of the great street Mexican food and things like that.
I think in like 2006 or 7, I hung around the Gulch.
Oh, that's when like 2006 or 7, the Gulch was just, there was absolutely nothing there.
Yeah, there was just like those 2 fancy apartment buildings basically and a couple bars.
Yeah, it's that area is completely different now.
Yeah, I drove by it once and it looked huge comparatively, but which is good, right? But is it a bro town now?
The Gulch is a lot where you'll find the tourist in the Gulch.
That makes sense.
I don't find myself in that area very often.
So now I try to stop at restaurants on the east side because that's Hipsterville, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love the east side. I'm hopefully moving to the east side soon. So
Very nice.
Welcome back, Ryan. How's this? I don't know. I didn't hear you say anything. Or were you talking about how's this for the show
We
notes?
can't hear you. Can you crank your volume? Maybe that might help.
Ryan, just go outside and yell. Maybe it'll pick up.
What's this?
I mean, I vaguely heard you.
If you could double or triple, that'd probably be good.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Mm.
what kind of mic are you running?
I mean, like, yell at us.
Is Kev coming? Or
I
did he
don't know, man.
pick it? Oh, it's only 8:01. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're fine. If he shows up, he shows up.
Chill out. Chill out, Phil. Gosh.
Yeah, man. What happened to you being wavy, bruv? It's not wavy.
All gone in the Christmas season. This is what happened.
Guys, I made the mistake of following 2 Cincinnati players on Twitter, and now the who to follow thing on Twitter is just the rest of Cincinnati's roster. To be fair, it was Ledesma and Emery Welshman.
How about now?
Hey, there it is.
hey,
It's right on, everybody.
All right, Apple earbuds are gonna have to work for the day.
Should we do a podcast or whatever?
Let's give Kev 5 minutes and then
I'm down. I got time.
he usually joins in anyway if he does come late.
Can I talk about how excited I am for next year's USL Championship?
it's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be really good.
Schedule if it's not gonna screen.
Go. It's gonna be great.
It will be. It should be.
How Nashville fans handle being the ringers. so
They're
far.
not gonna handle it well.
You don't think so?
No.
They're gonna go all Cincinnati on us.
Yeah, I would say that some of the supporters groups have this need to be loved, and I don't think they're gonna enjoy being any part of the
Not
bad
being
guy at all.
loved.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you think they'll like hit back basically
Yeah,
harder? Interesting.
yeah. Like I'm perfectly fine playing the evil empire role.
I like it.
Wait, does that mean the players are gonna have to play that role too? Because like I really want to see Taylor Washington try to pull that off. It's gonna be great.
Taylor Washington gets a face
Like,
tattoo.
yo, you guys were mean out there. God bless you. Though. I love you. Great, you're great. That was just that wasn't. I didn't mean that as anything. It's literally just how he talks.
Yeah. I mean, the man goes to mass 7 days a week. So
Right. That's like a shoot. That's not even work. Like he legitimately. Yes, we need more wrestling terminology on this soccer podcast, Evan. Thank you so much.
I don't know. You could have like really nice players play for really evil teams. I'm a big fan of N'Golo Kante, and I hate Chelsea.
yeah, but that's different though. N'Golo Kante may be the nicest person on the face of the earth.
He just happens to play for one of my least favorite teams.
Hey, they helped us out last week.
For now.
I like the whole like black and gold motif in the map too. I don't know why. Guys, Ryan Madden liked our tweet about the show tonight. Shit.
Conspiracy theory time. If the black and gold branding is to be believed, Birmingham's going to dominate the league this year just so they can have that branding. Did anyone hear that? Or
No.
You cut out.
You
right
went
at the end.
like full robot and a half on that one. I know.
Sorry.
I will say if Ryan's listening to this live and or in general, before Saturday when our You Coach We Don't comes out, hey man, sorry. I know that no one bets on USL games except for Ryan and Pony. Thanks, bud. You almost interviewed Matt.
I tried. Well, I tried to get
Oh, I texted him as it was happening, and he's like, "Yeah, Jake tweeted about it."
I know, but I wanted him to elaborate. I wanted to get Jake to
You
elaborate.
know what his role is, though. He's very good at it.
I thought maybe he was hot-headed and he wanted to strike back, and I wanted to give him a venue.
No, come on.
Smart. He's too smart.
Have you talked to that guy on the
How about
phone
now?
yet? He is literally the just nicest, most even.
Is this working?
That's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is mic up and running, or is it working? Kind of.
Oh yeah, you're good.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, I plugged in my mic in addition to Apple earbuds tonight.
Nice. You know Ryan don't play that game, Phil. Come on.
I know. Well, I don't know yet, but I'm learning. Is what
That man is a professional and a half. Welcome to the USL show where I talk up the league office. Thank you so much for coming.
Corporate
Well, like I was
chill.
saying with
Evan
the-
Villella.
Corporate
Fill it
chill,
out.
man. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Well, like I was saying with the kind of branding of that black and gold, maybe they really want Birmingham to win the league this year.
Oof. I love it.
Kev just got home.
All right.
Okay.
We'll start without him. He
All right,
can-
I'm gonna hit
he'll get
record right now.
right now. All right, cool. Hey everybody, welcome to the USL show brought to you by our good friends over at Roughneck Scarves, your home for USL, MLS, national team scarves, as well as scarves for your personal podcast and or club use. Check those guys out, roughneckscarves.com. We are also produced and brought to you by the Beautiful Good Network podcast, bgn.fm on the interwebs, at the BGN FM on the Twitters. If you want to check out some really cool written stuff, bgnwritten.com and at USL News on the Twitters. It's some good stuff. Our good friend Brian Cook put out some really good stuff. Richard Rainwater put out a really good expansion recap for El Paso. That was good. I'll start chilling. I'm your usual host, Evan Villella. Sometimes I'm joined by my soccer colleagues. Sometimes they're my soccer acquaintances, but they're always my soccer friends. I have 3, soon to be 4 of them tonight with me here. First of all, the man behind the ones and the twos, producer, as well as the latest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, the creamier Irish coffee. It's Mr. Phil Grooms. Phil, what's happening, brother?
Oh, not much. Just chilling out. USL is the best league on the planet. We were talking,
It's the league where we know the most people that are involved in it. So yeah.
just doubling down. Having a good night. How are you doing, Evan?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back. We have a new coach. We don't coming out on Saturday. I'm arbitrarily deciding because this will go out tomorrow. With Chris, one of the assistants over at Reno. That's some really good stuff. Also a former USL champion in 2014 as a coach. So really good. It's mostly about conspiracy theories, but there's some soccer talk in there too. It's a nice little jaunt. It's an off-season podcast. So what else could you expect? It's a guy just talking to me about some basketball conspiracy theories. Some good stuff. Also joining me tonight, it's the man that puts the show on show notes. It's our no longer international correspondent, which probably could have helped out Charlotte a little bit when Jim McGinnis got announced as their head coach. Ryan Allen.
Hi, thank you for having me. Of course, I'm just happy to be done with finals. I had a professor bump an A- up to an A for some reason, even though I just earned an A- in
He's
that
a
class.
big fan of the show, let me tell you. He reached out via email, and I was like, yeah, man, move that up. Let's go.
I don't know. He opened every class discussion just talking about his gambling habits. So
Oh, all right. Was it Michael Jordan?
I think he just started gambling on USL now.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. He actually gambled on your grade, and he said he took the over on A or higher, and so he had to bump that up to cover. Probably. I don't know how that works. Also joining us tonight, it's one of my favorite folks, not just in Nashville, but in general. Someone that has a nose ring that I didn't know about until about 10 minutes ago. It's my dear friend Slapey Jonathan Slate from Speedway Spocker Pod. Nailed it.
How you doing tonight, Evan?
How are you?
Not too bad at all.
I'm glad that your team is signing anyone that proved they can score more than 5 goals last year.
Yeah, we needed it. We needed
Let's
it bad.
talk about it. Oh, the evil Empire teams continue.
Yeah,
As much as
break.
things change in the USL, as much they say the same. It's my favorite.
handing down the crown. Someone's got to take it.
For
And
sure.
And I'm gonna relish playing that role.
Can't wait to hate you later. It's gonna be great.
We'll have the last.
And we get to hate each other this year.
We'll have the last laugh when Red Bull 2 knocks you guys out in the first round.
Right.
I'm fully prepared for it.
I'll have the last laugh when Cameron Lancaster somehow scores 8 goals in a season.
Oh,
If
no.
there's anybody that can make that happen, it's Nashville.
Gary Smith, baby.
The good news is if your best striker gets shut down by the Red Bulls, you might sign him when you go to MLS.
Yeah, you'll just sign the center back that was like, yo, I'm going to make him not matter. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
They better hope he's good because they shut down Adi with him. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think he's like ready yet, but as far as like what I wanted to see out of whatever. As far as what I wanted to see out of Cincinnati in an expansion draft and even coming into the league, I wanted them to go younger. They kind of did, not really though. I like the amount of USL guys they brought in. I just wish they would have went a little younger in the expansion draft, but to each their own, I guess. I don't know.
Or
We'll
had
pull in Minnesota.
a little bit, maybe, but not all.
Yeah, but like I feel like their core roster is a lot better than like the 3 guys Minnesota brought up. Like I feel like the only guy that Minnesota brought up that was actually good from their NASL team was Ramirez.
Yeah,
I guess they could be like New England then.
Anyway,
I have a lot to say on that, and I don't know if we can waste our time on it. So
yeah, I'm gonna put out that this probably isn't the venue for that.
yep, but we can talk about lots
We
of
got some news.
good USL stuff. That's right.
Where do we want to start, boys? Do we want to start with the conference alignments? I guess that's probably the biggest thing. So we'll go for there. 2 18-team conferences. It's a 36-team league, ladies and gentlemen. Did we have here? I love that it's 18 and 18. Welcome back to the Eastern Conference, St. Louis FC. Hope you guys don't move ever again. And,
you know they're moving next year to the Central Conference.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Oh God, no
And,
Central.
With
Ryan is very anti-central, and I'm okay with him having that opinion.
it's
Well,
good.
it's not that I don't like the Central Conference. I don't like having 3 conferences because there would be no way to balance schedules perfectly, and it would be a nightmare to do playoffs because
Right.
every season you would have someone getting screwed out of a playoff spot. If they're going to go 3, you might as well do 4. Make it like the NHL and just do like an East, North, and South, and then like a Central and Pacific.
But the way it is now, we don't even have a home away balance, like you said.
It's true.
So,
You can still do, or at least with 36 teams with 18 in each, you could finally do a balanced home and home schedule. If you have the kind of 34 matches, just kind of make it like the Bundesliga, do your 17 other conference opponents.
oh no, you're right. So it's exactly home and away, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be exactly home and away. I think the only way they could see them like not doing it would be if they wanted to either if Ottawa drops out, we'll obviously talk on that later, but if they wanted to like balance out travel instead of saying it wouldn't be fair to Seattle to play RGV so often.
No, that's that makes sense. I wasn't doing my math right. I was including my own team. So gosh, okay, never mind. I'm with you. Do you think that's the main reason they kept it 2 and decided to put off Central one more year? Do you think it was just that easy?
Probably.
I think that and probably worrying about getting League One off the ground, it probably would have made the most sense to try and keep a championship now at the most basic level they can. Basically a good amount of teams making the playoffs, now 16 of 36, if they're going to keep the 8-team format. And still be single LM, and that's less than half the conference, so it's still like a high honor to make it. You're leaving out 20 teams for missing the playoffs, which is a pretty good amount.
We'll have to see if our dear friends over at the league can confirm playoff format just yet. It might be coming, but I imagine they'll keep it the same. I think the more like autonomous the championship can just run, the better. And I think League 2 already runs itself pretty autonomously. So yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think them, really focusing on getting League 1 off the ground and making that run smoothly and now nonsense that randomly got thrown in their lap is going to be a bit of a time sink, unfortunately. So, okay with this format, and I'm actually really excited to see Swope Park in the East, if not only because it's another really good MLS2 side.
Yeah, and I mean, it does make sense that Swope is going to have to travel the most, being that they are the MLS team or the MLS2 side that does have the most resources. So I mean,
Right.
that makes the most sense that if you're going to move them over to the East, and that therefore making them the one that has to travel the most, that they at least have those resources behind them.
Yep.
It's interesting. I don't know if they care about that though, do they?
I mean,
No,
they may not.
But it is a nice thought. I hadn't considered it. So that's something that, this is the championship. And so I guess they probably don't care as much about this, but that's another thing. As owners, if I was an owner of a club, I'm looking forward to the Central Conference, no matter where I am geographically on the map, because it's going to save my team like, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in travels. Yeah. That's going to make a big difference for the individual clubs as far as money. And I imagine they'll put that towards players. They usually do, it seems. So, it'll have its good sides and downsides. I'm sure we'll talk about
players or equipment or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'll see it.
I'm excited next season to have. We lost Cincinnati as a close driving game, but we had Louisville, Birmingham, and Memphis next season.
Yeah,
and that's the thing with St. Louis moving over is fans prefer the East just for travel alone. I mean, we will be traveling so much more from St. Louis now, especially with Memphis joining in and Nashville.
Mm.
And
I always felt like your style was a little more. I mean, I guess especially with Preki, but your style was a little more tailored to the Eastern Conference, where it's a bit more physical, not quite as open.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Now I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
I think
we'll see what Pullis does this year.
I kind of foresee us being somewhere between like a Nashville and I don't know, Penn FC. Somewhere in between those.
Sorry, who are they?
Yeah. So
new League One expansion team.
That's right.
But I think one of the stories I like to have out of this conference realignment is that now we have an Eastern Conference team with more Western Conference titles than a lot of the Western Conference.
There you go. Well, should we talk about Nashville? I mentioned him a little bit, and we got Slape here.
Can we talk about Ottawa first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's talk Ottawa first.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen it, which welcome back from the rock you've been hiding under, CONCACAF said that Ottawa can't play in USL this year. Now, what's weird, CONCACAF's current president is funny. I'm going to guess I didn't say that wrong. If I did, I don't really care. He doesn't strike me as a terribly nice person. Who is the former president of the Canadian Soccer Association, where he was big guys juicing up the Canadian Premiership, which the Ottawa Fury did not want to be a part of. Also, I'm going to go on hold for 2 seconds. Hi, Kev. Welcome to the show that you're a part of. You'll get back to me when you're unmuted. It's good. I'm going to keep talking. Oh, hi, hi, buddy.
Hi. Well, hi. How's it going?
It's the biggest man in the Beautiful Game Network. Our version of Chuck Palahniuk and Elliott Smith, Kevin McCamish.
I'm sorry that I'm like 20 minutes late.
No,
I
you're
guess
cool.
if
We
you
didn't
count
start
the
till like
pregame,
5 after. It's
30 minutes.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, I just got home a few minutes ago. So
a outside media member of your 2018 Western Conference champion Portland Timbers.
Congrats, pal.
yay. I don't want to talk about it.
All right, that's great. Well, the good news is we're talking about Ottawa Fury and CONCACAFing them really hard in right before the season. Anyway, Montagliani, a big guy that was like, "Yay, Canadian Premiership." CONCACAF says under international sanctioning rules, clubs that are affiliated to an association may only join competitions in another association's territory under exceptional circumstances. For the sanctioning of such play in our region, approval must be given by CONCACAF and FIFA. Yeah, that was the top quote they gave. my problem with that, which I understand, I get it. You know, like you don't want teams from Spain playing in England. I understand that.
Or
My
teams
problem
from Spain playing in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
My problem with this is, why is this any different than Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver? Hell, why isn't it any different than FC Montreal playing in USL when they did? Really? So obviously, I think
Why is
we're
it
all
different
going to
than
follow.
Cardiff in the Premier League?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's different from Cardiff and Swansea in the Premiership. It doesn't top flight soccer league, right? Do they?
No, well, Wales does. They have. There is a Welsh Premier League. I mean, it's not very good.
I was gonna say, like,
The Welsh Premier League is
Swansea.
the equivalent of conference.
Oh yes. Well, okay. So Swansea and Wales would absolutely, or Swansea and Cardiff would absolutely stomp everybody in that league. So there's no point in them playing there, right? Like, that's what that comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, but also Wrexham plays in the English system, and
They're a conference team.
they are a conference team right now, but they have been up as, I think, as high as the championship.
Well, and what, Wellington Phoenix play in the Australian Football League, and they're in New Zealand.
That's also true.
So this seems like a very, like, CONCACAF just CONCACAFing the Fury for the sake of CONCACAFing the Fury.
It almost seems fishy just because you have the former Canadian soccer guy, and the fact that they don't have their capital in this league seems like it's something that they want the market in the league, regardless if Fury won it or not. Basically, I think they're saying that the CPL is going to be about equivalent of USL in terms of playing, or at least in terms of sanctioning. But the fact that is the CPL, this is their first year, and they haven't proven anything of being a viable source, and the Fury might lose more money going to this league than if they had stayed in USL.
Yeah.
I mean, I think from the Fury, like what you're saying, the Fury's point of view is, you know, we don't want to join the CPL right now because, I mean, for all we know, this league could fold in a year or 2 years, and at that point, they're then left without a league, and they're already in an established system right now where they, you know, they know that the USL is not going anywhere.
Hey, and that sounds really familiar from a thing that happened to them a couple years ago.
Exactly. They just got to the USL, and they'd like some stability, I imagine, and they want to maybe have a little proof before they go commit to another league in 4 years to be the third league. So, yeah.
And I'd assume if they went CPL, they would have to pay an exit fee, and then if the CPL didn't work out, they'd have to come back and pay an entrance fee again, and you're just adding on stuff basically on top of that.
But if this rule is like saying that they can't play outside of Canada, then would they even be able to come back if the CPL folded?
Good point.
Based on their own rule, CONCACAF would have to block that too, you would imagine, right?
Yeah, they would have to.
Yeah, so I think that's the worst part of this, is that they seem to be picking and choosing. This is the point I think we're getting to. They're picking and choosing who they want to, strike against and not strike against. And my question is, why the Fury? I guess now they want CPL to survive, and they think the Fury is going to really help that, which may be true.
I can tell you why. I mean, so they can't go after the MLS clubs, because MLS, I think, is more powerful as far as like having some say in what happens. So they're going to pick the lowest hanging fruit, and outside of Vancouver, Montreal, and Toronto. Yeah. The most viable soccer team in the entire country, I believe, that is left is the Ottawa Fury.
That they're not making themselves, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think one thing they're looking past, if I want to put my shill hat on, is I don't think they know how much the USL has their stuff together, because, Jake Edwards doesn't tweet very often. He got on Twitter and he made a statement, and the last thing he said was, in that statement was, allowing this to happen would set a very poor precedent.
Yes.
We'll do everything in our power to support the Ottawa Fury FC. He mentioned lawyers in the Twitter feed. So I think USL is going to strike back with everything they have and use some capital that they've been saving surely for a rainy day. And that rainy day's here. And I'm really interested to see how well USL does in this fight and how much clout they can put to bear. And they may fail miserably, but I'm kind of hoping that they have their stuff together and they shut it down quickly.
Yeah.
If this works, like if they take Ottawa, and that sets a precedence of forcibly pulling a club into a new league in your country, then what is that going to do for the Whitecaps or Toronto or Montreal Impact?
Right. Yeah. See, that's I would love to hear what the lawyers said on the first day. Imagine they have a whole bunch of bullet points that they're going to.
I'm sure our friend Mickey Turner might pay the money to get the court documents if this all comes down to that.
There you go.
Interesting conspiracy theory to kind of toss out there is, say CONCACAF does successfully find a way to kind of toss Fury out of USL and send them into CPL. Well, what would stop MLS to say it's like, hey, we can get $550 million charging 3 new expansion sides to replace these Canadian teams? What say we kick the Canadian teams out of MLS and bankroll a bit more money?
They would have to buy them out though first.
Yeah.
And I think that creates a whole other, legal situation of if Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal don't want to leave, how can you force them out? And I think that trying to manage both that and expansion, it would just be a disaster.
It's a situation where they're not going to pull like an MLS type move where they just kick them out and go and pick up 3 new expansions in the States. But it is going to be a situation where I think if the CPL, if the Canadian Association, somehow forcibly gets those 3 to join their league, and MLS, they may not put up a fight. Like USL wants to put up a fight. MLS may be like, okay, yeah, no worries, just pay us for them or something. And then all of a sudden, those 3, then at that point, MLS will be like, well, let's go find some new money, some fresh money, some new expansion cities. They might not be as like upset if the CPL comes and takes those 3 teams.
And I think a lot of it also comes down to when this is happening. I mean, you have to think that we may be close to getting a schedule. This stuff has been finalized for a while, and all of a sudden they're just now raising this up.
I heard the schedule was supposed to go out. Like the first draft was circulating, and then this showed up, which makes me think this wasn't a coincidence.
We already have the USL League One schedule out.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But I think the championship schedule was being circulated to be finalized.
The other thing, I think I read an article saying that the same day CONCACAF released this, the U.S. Soccer Federation okayed the Fury, gave the 100% okay for this year. I don't know if that's true, but I also read that Canada hasn't given its official okay. Their soccer federation hasn't given the official okay. And then in other articles I've read that both Canada and USSF gave their approval in July. So I'm not really sure exactly what's going on, and the timing of it hasn't been nailed down by anyone I've read. Have you guys read any exact timing in any article?
No, everything.
Nothing.
There's been some things that I've read that it may have been that CSA did okay it, but they didn't file the proper paperwork. But some of it just seems odd in the fact that the new head of CONCACAF is former CSA. That this seems like his pet thing. That he wants to force Ottawa into CPL.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how much he has his stuff together too, because nothing so far seems to be like, oh, they have their ducks in a row and they know exactly what they're doing. So that's what it feels like to me. But none of us really know. I think that's the point I'm getting at, is that the full details haven't even been released of this. We've just kind of got some rumors that it's happening. So
if this was old CONCACAF, it could be just solved with a briefcase of money to Jack Warner.
Right.
Probably.
It hasn't happened yet. Let's just do that.
Jack Warner's off.
You could argue new CONCACAF is still the most transparent thing out there.
Final thought on this one from someone that's actually up there. Richard Starnes, who is a host of the TSN 1200 radio show Corner Kicks, which is a Ottawa Fury based. He says the unconscionable move to throw a grenade at the Ottawa Fury defies logic. This club has battled all kinds of difficulties and turned itself into one of the best-run Canada-conscious clubs in the game. It champions Canadian pros like no other. Shame on CONCACAF and Montagliano. That's about right. From them to go to NASL, yikes, we don't know what that's going to be. Joined USL late when they did, what was that, 2 years ago? Had a ton of Canadian kids on their team. Played well. Had Max Crepeau, who's now going to be a really good goalie for the Impact. They affiliate with Montreal. They get up there. I mean, they have what, like 9 out of 11 of their players every week are Canadian guys. Like, there's not a better team putting Canada on the map as far as here's guys that could play for this national team than the Ottawa Fury. And for CONCACAF to do that, in a way, to me, signals that they don't want the Canadian men's team to grow like they have been the last couple of years. And I don't understand that at all.
Well, they know they have a guaranteed World Cup in 2026, so
yeah, I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Just to sidetrack, I so want the Canadian national team to be good.
It'd be better for the region currently we only have 3 teams that really dominate, or at least one that should dominate, but other reasons, with the U.S., Mexico, and Costa Rica, it'd be better for region to have Canada do well.
Right.
And yeah, just another team that we were tossing around that plays in outside of their system. Monaco plays basically in Monaco, but are a part of the French system. So that's legally they're in a different country.
It's another one. There's a lot of them around the world.
Yeah. Let's talk some player moves, y'all.
Sounds good.
Carlton Belmar, and I think officially now, right? Cameron Lancaster?
No, that's not official yet.
All right, well, I'll back up. Carlton Belmar and Rios joined Nashville.
Oh, and Connor Sparrow, Darnell King, Ken Tribbets. Those are a big offseason acquisitions.
None of them
you guys made some
are
some
bad
big moves.
players. None of them
No.
are bad players. I guess early signings are always the best one, or usually the best ones, with a few spotted awesome ones later. But man, those are all good players. Even Sparrow, who I think is the least known, did great work last year.
I think Tribbett's going to fly a bit under the radar, and as much as I give out about him, he's very solid, really good on set pieces, and he's proven that. So,
between Lancaster, Daniel Rios, and Carlton Belmar, that's 56 goals right there.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, Slate. How do you see this setting up so far? Let's just assume Lancaster's in, just for fun, right?
So just to assume with Lancaster, and the earlier signings indicated, we adding Tribbett and adding Darnell King is we're going to see a return to the back 3. That was something that Gary Smith started the season out with playing 3 at the back, and then he switched back to almost a 4-4-2, but then last couple games of the season and the game against the playoff game against Cincinnati, he reverted to that back 3. So I think we're going to see, King is that right wing back, because as good as Kosuke Kimura was last season, to expect a guy in 35 to play another 34 game season is a bit of a stretch. But I think you're probably going to see Belmar and Rios up top. Lancaster can play as a 10 and like a 3-5 and like a 3-5-2. But we needed goals off the bench. So, I doubt those guys really came to play, any of those to be a bench player. But having those people off the bench, especially knowing that in the attacking midfield spot, Lebo Moloto's coming off a pretty nasty injury at the end of the season. And there's some talk that he may not be 100% fit to start the season.
That's big because you guys don't have that kind of player replacing him yet. That's early, but still you don't.
Yeah, there's a chance that Alan Wynn can play that position. We saw Matt LaGrasso play there, and to mixed success as an attacking midfielder. I think Wynn has some attributes. But looking at last season, our problem wasn't chances created. I think we finished about midway through the league in number of chances created, but it was chance conversion last season. It was our number one issue. We were second to last or dead last in the league in chance conversion.
That bodes really well for you guys. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So that was our biggest issue last year, and then adding some defensive pieces. With Bourgeois not staying 100% healthy last season, having a guy like Tribbets come on and play play some center back, and hopefully get some goals, because that was something we really lacked on set pieces. And then the Connor Sparrow addition, I think it's going to be huge. He's going to push Pickens, and maybe potentially, as Pickens is our backup goalkeeper. I mean, not backup. He's our goalkeeper coach. Could possibly even see Connor Sparrow claim that starting role by the end of the season.
He could. He's from St. Louis, so that's why I follow him so closely.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 24, which is super young for a goalkeeper. So a lot of good chances there.
I mean, Nashville was tied for third last year in the league with 15 clean sheets. Only Phoenix and Pittsburgh had more, but it's definitely helpful to see them gain a lot more support on the offensive side of the ball. They were down in 23rd with goals. They had 12% conversion rate, and they were 19th in shots with only San Antonio behind them and Portland Timbers 2 just in front of them.
Yeah, and I think looking forward to the season, probably we could probably use another left wing back, but as great as Michael Reed has been this past season, I feel like we could use an upgrade there.
Couple other moves. The other notable one. Charlotte Independence announced that Coach Mike Jeffries is moving to the Bill Betcher role, I suppose is what I'm going to call it. Because I don't really know what it is, but it's like a general manager, director of football operations kind of thing. And announced that they have signed County Donegal Gaelic football legend Jim McGuinness. I'm so excited for this one. This is going to be the most interesting storyline of all year. For those who don't know, Gaelic football, go watch it on YouTube a little bit. You'll get an idea. Like rugby and soccer had a baby, but like also with Aussie rules football in the way you pass.
If you know hurling, it's hurling with a soccer ball, pretty much.
Yeah. But Jim McGuinness got a little bit of criticism leveraged against him in a couple fashions. One, in the way that he changed how Donegal actually played the game. Gaelic football traditionally super high scoring. Jim's teams were not as much. They just wanted to outrun you and outwork you, and really grind you down and beat you that way. And then kind of post him coaching Donegal, the criticism leveraged against him was that it was a lot of cult of Jim. So a lot of people made it more romanticized than it was. Now, our dear friends over at Talking Jacks did an interview with him on their most recent episode. The interview itself is decently short, so definitely give it a listen. If nothing else, to hear an Irish guy talk, which is always a great time. Jim said that he was approached by the owner of Glasgow Celtic, like 2012 or so, to help out with their academy. Obviously, you don't turn the owner of a big club like that down. And then he kind of made his way up their academy, ended up coaching their U23s, I believe, and then was an assistant coach for a team over in China in 2017 where they won the Chinese domestic cup. This is his first head coaching role in football or soccer. And I think it was Alex on Talking Jacks that said this is a really good fit for him because the financial impact of promotion and relegation that might, have inhibited him getting a soccer or football job in Europe isn't here. They're really excited. He's a really well-spoken guy. He's a psychology degree haver, so he's smart as a whip.
And that seems to have a huge impact on the way he coaches. He seems to be one of those guys. One of the first things he said was he really cares about the mentality of the team and the kind of guys he brings in. So I think that's like a real serious modern coach thing, especially it seems in the United States and all the sports, not just soccer. That seems like a really big thing. So I'm interested to see him coming from a different sport, if that mixed with Jeffries kind of putting those two together equals TNT or something awesome.
Right.
It'd be a cool season for them.
Club also announced Joel Johnson, Kevon George, Alex Martinez, Jake Arman, and Brandon Miller, friend of the show, coming back for 2019. So, Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to meet Jim. I've heard nothing but good things from my Irish correspondent, who is James Chambers. Although given that Jim was in Gaelic football and James was in football, they didn't cross paths. But
Irish
Yeah.
people know this guy. Like, this is a big deal
Yes.
in Ireland. Like, Talking Jacks is getting some play on Irish radio just because
they are. I'm really jealous.
it's hilarious.
No, there's in his hometown in Donegal, there's a mural of Jim McGinnis called Jim the Redeemer, which when I'm over there in March, way to try to find.
No,
I'm super excited for sure.
No, I was gonna say, I've never been to a Gaelic football match, but when I was last time I was over in Ireland, I did make it to a hurling match, which was absolutely craziness.
I was in line at a St. Louis FC game and a guy was wearing a really cool green jersey. And I was like, oh, what soccer jersey is that? And he said, oh, no, it's Irish. It's Gaelic football. But it's a local, I guess there's a local group playing Gaelic football in St. Louis, like several teams in a league.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
we have a
actually really
Gaelic
funny.
Athletic
That's what I
Association
got.
here.
You do. That's cool. That's
I
awesome.
mean, I watched a Gaelic football match when I was at a pub in Glasgow, and they had to look it up like after I was there. I was like, what did I just watch?
Awesome.
Mr. McCamish, any experience with the Irish sports?
No, surprisingly enough, not. But you're going over there like next year, because I'm very jealous if that's.
Yeah, March, like the middle towards the end of March for 10 days.
I'm going. I want to go over there, and I want to try to go there for 2 weeks. And there's 2 specific areas I want to visit and check out different things, and then hopefully I can make it across the over to England and catch Liverpool.
What 2 areas?
Far northwest County Donegal, the village of Rathmullan, and then just outside of Dublin. I don't know how far out of Dublin, maybe an hour or 2. There is like the Church of Glendalough or something, where so the village of Rathmullan is kind of where my last name originates, where I can trace my ancestry back to. And then the very first person who was named Kevin was Saint Kevin of Glendalough, and there's first church he set up was just outside of Dublin. So I want to go there and like look at and see where my first name originated and where my last name originated.
Brilliant.
That's awesome.
If any USL players would like to send me a list of things to do when I'm in Ireland, looking at you, Eamon Zayed, since you gave out for me talking out my friend, get in touch.
I can send you some stuff as well.
Get in touch.
Do you think the first time anyone in Ireland heard the name Kevin, they were like reacting like we reacted to the Austin Bold?
They were like, "Oh God, it's so tacky."
What kind of
God.
I don't think Mike Pendleton wrote a "Here's how you should have done this" for Kevin.
Hey Mike, tell me how you would redo Kevin.
You switch the I and the E.
Oh, I need a
Way better.
I need a Mike Pendleton rebrand of names.
If you want something funny, look up how my name is actually spelled in Gaelic.
Got it.
It's completely different.
Right up
I
Ryan's
wanted
alley.
to type that, but I didn't take the bait because I knew I was going to hear 2 other keyboards go at it.
That's not actually how it is. But
That's funny.
Can we just name the episode that?
What, 2 other keyboards?
No, just whatever Kevin is in
Oh.
Gaelic.
Yeah.
I'll type out in English Kevin in Gaelic. That's what I'll do for you. That's the name
Yeah,
of-
the episode title will be whatever Kevin is in Gaelic. Other moves. Let's see here. Phil, I'm going to selfishly talk about the ones that Bethlehem made before I talk about yours. Great, thanks. I think it's only 1. No, it's not. It's 2. Did we talk about Nanko moving to Hamilton? Great, it happened. That's how much I care about the CPL right now, given what just happened. Sorry guys. And the other one, Drew Skundrich, the Sacramento Republic. I am so mad that this happened. He's so good. Good job, Sacramento. You got yourselves a 4-time NCAA champion and an absolute workhorse.
Sacramento's good at finding guys that work well for them, it seems like.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good one to watch.
Stay tuned. They're not done yet.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No, I mean, no one's done yet, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't think they've actually dug in deep yet.
No. Also, on a personal note, congratulations to Tom Villa II on his job with the Philadelphia Union, former Bethlehem Steel communications director. His last day is tomorrow with the Bethlehem Steel before some guy from Columbus takes over. I don't know his name. I forgot it. Rob. I'll meet him eventually. Phil, St. Louis made some moves. What's up, man?
The first two, one is Oscar Umar and Guy Abend from Reno. Umar's from Richmond, kickers. Both seem really similar, actually, kind of defensive midfielders. I think
Oscar Umar, in fact, played for Westchester United. Based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania.
I think I read that and might have forgotten it immediately. So sorry about that.
Which is where I currently am. It's all right. No, it's cool. He scored against Bethlehem last year. It was weird.
Yeah, I think that was I think that was his only goal, actually. But
Sounds right.
But yeah, I think they'll work wonders for a Pulis system. And instead of us kind of having, 3 guys to play those roles, I imagine we're going to get at least one more because we had a lot of injuries in that area last year. These guys also seem like they'll hold together pretty well. So anyway, those two. The really exciting one, though, is Joaquin Rivas from Tulsa. And it's funny. I imagine they remembered him pretty well because he did really well against us in a friendly, I think 2 years ago. We played at SLU in the city rather than out in the county where our soccer field is right now, and got hurt pretty badly by Tulsa in the preseason. Sven Tesson scored one. I think Rivas had a banger, and I think they remembered him and watched him from that point on. And he's just such a good player, and he's done really well with a lot of freedom in Tulsa. And so I'm excited to see him in a Pulis system. Hopefully he'll be one of those really good attackers that we've been needing more of in the way that we play. So I think he's going to do really well with St. Louis, and that's probably the best player to watch other than Greg so far in the attack for St. Louis.
Fair enough.
You guys haven't seen Rivas play you because he's been in the West. So
yeah,
you'll see him next year.
It's true. We got a really good question, and since we're out of news and other things, I figure we will answer it on air. It's from Matty Dub at Tisbo Time on the Twitters. He asked, it's I suppose technically 3 questions, but it's one. It's in one tweet. Is it typical for there to be so many free agents around the USL at this point in the offseason? If so, is there any league-specific reason for that, shorter contracts or something like that? Kev, I think you and I know why there's a lot of free agents that come out of our respective clubs each offseason.
Yep.
For the MLS2 sides, there's generally like an age-out year. And I always say that, and I don't want it to seem like it's literally like a hard and fast rule because it's not. But more often than not, by the time you're, Kev, like 24?
I would say 25, just because a lot of the college players that maybe the teams pick up in the drafts and stuff, they're already 23, 24.
And I suppose it varies probably depending on MLS2 club to MLS2 club. But if they don't see you making the first team in a year or 2, you're done.
Yep, they'll just cut you.
So I mean, that's what, Kev, between the two of us, 20 guys this year.
Well, and then you also look at years past. Like, there's a lot of former T2 players that are doing quite well for independent USL clubs,
right?
And it's not that they aren't good players, because obviously they're great players. Showing well in other teams. Nico Brett comes to mind for Pittsburgh, and Carlton Belmar did very well when he changed over to Swope Park, and he even got himself an MLS contract by switching clubs. Yeah. Now he's going to Nashville. Well, I guess so. Nashville must have signed him from Sporting, and maybe he's going to try to get us back in MLS via the Nashville route. But anyway, all these different players, and it's just where like they got 1 season, maybe 2, but more often than not 1 full season, and they're just like, you're not going to work out, so we'll just cut you.
Right. Santi Moore moving to New Mexico, the other Bethlehem Steel move. Not a bad player by any stretch. 2017 USL Rookie of the Year runner-up. But, the Union have a ton of wingers.
I mean, I also think that's how last season Nashville ended up with Lebo Moloto, Liam Doyle, and then Omar Ballo, who ended up not being able to get a work permit. Was at that point, I think they saw them as not being able to make the MLS side, and at that point, we weren't in the running for MLS. So it was sending them off to a USL team where they're going to play and maybe have a chance to thrive under an independent team at that time.
Phil, thoughts on that one?
I think you guys are covering it pretty well.
Fair enough.
I think there was at least one interesting tweet I want to bring up. It was from Nipun. He was asking, it's like, why aren't more MLS sides going after a lot of Louisville players, considering they have back-to-back league titles, or like what more does the side need to do to at least be considered from MLS clubs? And I think the only person we've seen really go up was kind of Mark Anthony Kay from, which was for them a record deal to LAFC.
Well, and Lancaster has rumored to have turned down a contract to Orlando City.
Yeah.
I mean,
interesting.
I heard that, Remy.
Now, I mean, just the fact that he's rumored to go to Nashville also kind of shocks me a little bit, because it sounded like Cincinnati was going to bring him up to MLS. So why would he want to turn down any MLS contract, whether it's with Cincy, Orlando, and stay in USL?
So
he's not behind audience if he doesn't go to Cincy.
I've got a little information from Jeff Reuter. From what we know is that if the Cameron Lancaster signing does happen, he will be signed to the MLS, to Nashville MLS, and then loaned down to the USL team.
Gosh, John, that sounds really familiar.
We've done this once before. Hey,
I wonder who did that.
I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I'm fully going to embrace the Evil Empire tag that we will probably get.
So, but this means
John,
one
is your
thing.
logo when you make it to MLS going to be trash too?
No, it's just going to be the First Order logo.
That's perfect. That's perfect. But no, this
I like my empire better.
This does just mean one thing, and that means first of all, that he didn't turn down an MLS contract for USL contract.
Yep. There you go.
But if that is true, that he is getting an MLS contract from Nashville, that just means they outbid everybody else. That's all it means. And I did hear that
also true.
Only offering him an MLS league minimum. And honestly, a guy, I've talked to some players about this, and a guy that scores the most in the league, why should he take less in MLS when he can make more money in USL? And especially a team like Nashville, who might move up to MLS. That's just a smart move, because in Orlando, he's got Dom Dwyer to worry about in politics there on top of that. So,
well, but he's able to change his contract.
What's that?
I was saying is that he has a more likely chance of winning a championship with Nashville than Orlando has of winning an MLS Cup.
Well, that's 100% true.
Well, I mean, if he is staying on an MLS contract, that makes complete sense. Then it's like Cincinnati are like, hey, we'll promote you to MLS, and they probably paid him, say, X amount of dollars, and then Orlando City is like, hey, we'll pay you X plus 1, and Nashville's like, we'll pay you X plus 10. Yeah. Well, I'll go to Nashville then, and then I don't mind playing USL again because I did so great last year. I can do great again this coming year, and then the year after, I'll still get to be in MLS. That all makes sense.
And you don't have to live in Cincinnati.
So, Slake, I want to hear too, because you're here. We can talk about Rios. He's signed to the first team? Do you think that's using Tam and Gam? Is he at that level too, or do you think he's just like a normal signing they spent their money on? And
I think he's a normal signing that they spent their money on. We still haven't gotten a whole lot of information because it was a transfer from Chivas, so I don't know at what level of transfer fee they paid. And it's they could have used Gam and Tam. But I tend to think that they just may have purchased him outright, and eventually may use Gam or Tam. But
I think they bought him outright. Oh, so the other thing I'll say is Rios was like a U20 for Chivas.
Yeah,
like he wasn't like a big guy in their system.
Yeah, I mean I think he's never played a senior game for Chivas or even made a bench. So I mean, it wasn't if they bought him outright. They probably didn't spend a whole lot of money. I know they did also buy out Rapapa Mensah's contract for Inter Allies in Ghana as well.
Right.
So I mean, that could have been another instance of, probably wasn't a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I hope Rios or Lancaster isn't looking to come off the bench because I think Mensah has that locked up. I think they're gonna have to step on further down the bench, right?
I don't
know.
And Mensah's still young, and I still feel like he has a lot to learn.
Oh yeah.
I think Mensah is going to learn a hell of a lot with Lancaster and Rios.
And Belmar as well. I think that's
Right.
I think that's a great group of players to be around day in and day
I think
out.
he turns into a really good bench option for that other league that's above this one, if he gets there.
Maybe.
But
I think with all of these moves, I think the person who misses out the most is Tucker Hume.
Yep.
So it's probably going to be an instance of where does Tucker end up?
He'd still find work in another USL team.
No,
I'd love to see him in Chester next year. I think he's too old, but
I would agree. I think he's too old at that point. But I mean, I mean,
he's over 23. It's a pass.
He could. Maybe we make up for sending Michael Cox to St. Louis, and let them have him over there.
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
Ugh, get out of here.
And the other piece of news is Memphis 901 announced a new assistant coach today. Then they picked up Doug Perriman from former DC
Detroit.
or Detroit City FC.
El Caesar.
Yeah,
He sold out, baby.
He didn't sell out. He bought in.
Yeah.
That's not how Detroit's gonna see it. That's for sure.
Is Memphis's $40 scarves included in his contract?
Man, I'm trying to look up his name, but who is the Phoenix Rising's new striker they just signed? Instead of Cortez, they're gonna have a guy. Who was playing for Columbus Crew, right? Sam Dorr. I'm sorry, you said Sam Dorr.
I did. I was really glad I got you.
Adam Yan, JA8.
Oh yeah.
So that's something to watch. Phoenix seems to do well with their strikers, no matter who they are, even if they're.
He's got plenty of people to give him service. Let me tell you.
That's the thing. He doesn't have good stats, but he keeps moving around.
I think Sam could get some tap-ins with the midfield they have at that club.
Yeah. So anyway, that's another one. Another signing that is cool to watch. Does anyone else remember any other ones? I think we're hitting a lot of the big ones, but there are so many lately. So
I think there's a bunch coming tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled, everybody. If you have questions, we'll talk about them.
Friday afternoon drop.
Oh yeah, and we already talked about Francois to Fury. I wonder what happens there now. So that's another one. Interesting.
I mean, I think everyone's going to assume that it's going to be business as usual and that Ottawa's going to play in USL come March.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Even if they are going to move, and I feel like you're just way too close to the season beginning to make any drastic changes.
Did anyone else in their minds think, when the first announcement about the Fury came out in July, CONCACAF was like, hey, let's do something about this. And then 3 months later, they finally got around to it.
No, if they wanted to do something about it, they would have done it at the time, I thought.
I don't
think that's just like how CONCACAF works.
I mean, I agree with Phil. I think that's how CONCACAF works.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
I mean, the United States Women's national team announced that they were going to hire a manager by the end of November, and it ended up being 2 days late on December 2nd when they officially had their guy.
As someone that knows how Ernie Stewart works, if you were surprised by that, I have some very bad news for you.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to get
on time or terribly well. Pump the brakes a little bit.
I'm not even going to get into the national team. That's just gonna.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying they approached hiring a manager the same way I approached doing assignments for my classes and do everything the night before.
No, they just do everything.
Exactly
they
right.
just do everything that the teacher's brother says to do. Actually, that was a terrible analogy.
Yeah, John, what are you trying to tell me, man? Are you okay?
No, I'm talking about Jay Burhalter.
Oh, all right. Yeah, okay.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, whatever, that guy. Guys, let's get out of here before Slate puts something through a wall. I don't know. That could have been.
He was downing a drink as he did that.
He was. It was good. I mean, as you can see, if you listen to us on the live stream that we have every week, YouTube.com/the USL show. We go live every year. We changing it to Thursday nights now. All right.
For now.
All right, there's Thursday nights. We'll let you know.
Awesome.
Hey, if you follow us on Twitter at the USL Show, we'll post a link before we go live. Also, if you hit the subscribe button, you'll just know because that's how that works. Yeah, the USLShow.com as well is where you can find our entire archive of podcasts, which includes all of our You Play We Don'ts, which there's some really good ones. I'll have time to do a giant F-off thank you, so I won't do it yet. I'll do that for like the Christmas episode we have. But so I'll pump the brakes on all those. All of our You Play We Don'ts, all of our episodes from this last year or so, where we talk about everything from, oh man, what was like one of the worst preseason? Oh, from pretending that the Tampa Bay Rowdies are going to be really good to slowly finding out that they were not going to be very good. And you can listen to our litany of soccer friends that we've had on, which is like literally 50 people or so. It's ridiculous. For myself, at Speak Evan Speak, if you want to hear more, see more, read more of my thoughts, do that there. Ryan Allen is at ILM_Ryan if you want to get some math things going on. Phil is at Phil 2L's Grooms 2O's. As well as at STL Soccer Report sometimes. And Kevin McCamish is at Kevin McCamish PDX. Slape, I don't know your handle or else I would have said it. So if you want to plug yourself and the Speedway Boys, feel free to do so.
It's J Slape SSP and Soccer Speedway. They're both on Twitter.
They're the preferred podcast of Boloak and Yoda. I don't know if you guys know that. Mm-hmm. The only one who listens to it. It's true. Trying to think what else. I'll thank my dear friend DK over at Soccer Loco. If you go to our website, uslshow.com, not only can you find a box for our Patreon, please stop giving us money, patreon.com/the USL Show. You can also find a blue and orange box, or it's a gray and gray box. If you're colorblind, it'll say Soccer Loco on it. You click on that, you can get yourself anything you possibly want. AC Milan didn't make the round of 32 in the Champions League, so I imagine their kits are going to be a little bit cheaper. If you want to pick up a Leroy Sané Manchester City kit, maybe for him bailing them out against Hoffenheim, you can do that. Or if you're looking for boots or anything for yourself, if you want to run your rec league or your pickup soccer games that you play every week, go check those guys out, Soccer Loco. Other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. If anyone else has anything else to say, feel free to do it. Other than that, I'm going to end the live stream. We're going to get out of here.
That's it.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Take care. Until next week. One rule here at the USL Show, and that rule is do not be a dick. Talk to you later, guys.
And we're out.
We're not out until I see that live.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of my
Gotta do
screen.
that now.